Now we're going to begin with our tow case, which is going to be, or no, this is not something different. This is going to be called CV 25000323. This is Elijah Walker versus Bitlocks. Do I have someone here on behalf of the plaintiff, Elijah Walker?
Yes, that's me.
Good afternoon, sir. And did anyone arrive on behalf of the defendant, Bitlocks?
I did not have anybody check in.
All right. All right, well, Mr. Walker, let me make sure that we received that the defendant was notified properly about their hearing. Sometimes
Oh,
things happen and they didn't, and we just reset.
totally.
But if they did, then I'll go ahead and take some information from you. Okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. So I see that we mailed it. We didn't get anything back, Mary.
No, we
Looks
haven't
like it.
gotten any returns.
Well,
I had a very similar experience reaching out to them.
I do see that we sent them notice of the hearing. All right. Well, Mr. Walker, just because the defendant is not here does not mean that you're not able to proceed. What we make sure is that the defendant is aware of the lawsuit, and I don't see any reason to think that the address you gave us wouldn't have gotten to them. So let me go ahead and take some information from you. And if so, it may be that we can give you a conditional award today. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So now you are applying for an improper tow. Is that right?
They didn't even tow my car. They just booted it.
Booted it. All right. Well, Mr. Walker, let me go ahead and swear you and I'll take your information. If you'll just raise your right hand and state your name for me.
Elijah Walker.
Do you understand you're now being sworn to tell the truth? Keep your hand up. Oh. Do you understand that you're now being sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under a penalty of perjury? Do you so swear?
Yes.
Okay, you put your hand down now. Thank you. All right, what happened? First off, when did it happen? Date, year?
Oh man, that's the one thing I didn't write down. It happened January of this year. I
All
know
right,
that.
I have on your petition, you wrote January 12th. Does that seem
Yes.
correct? All right. So it's this year, January 12th. Where was it at?
It was at 2110 South Lamar Boulevard.
Is that a residence? Is it an apartment? Is it a
It's
restaurant? What kind of place were you at?
yeah, sorry. It's a parking lot. It's like a business parking lot, I guess is what you'd call it.
What's the intersection? What I on Lamar?
It's Oxford.
What's there? Like if I'm trying to envision this on
Um,
Lamar.
Black Sheep Lodge, if you go there.
Oh yeah, I know exactly where you're at. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's January 12th. What time of day is this?
I believe it was around noon.
What time had you arrived?
I believe around noon.
Okay. And when you arrived, you parked your car?
Yes.
And do you remember where you parked it?
Yes. I parked it at 2110 South Lamar.
And were you visiting 2110 South Lamar?
So I was visiting Black Sheep and I was made aware afterwards that that was not part of 2110.
When you parked, did you observe any signs that said you can't park there? Nothing at all?
No.
Okay. All right. So did you go over to Black Sheep Lodge? What time did you leave?
I went to Black Sheep Lodge at like around 12 probably, and then I left after the Bronco game at like 3 o'clock probably.
And when you returned to your vehicle, what did you discover?
There was a boot on my car.
What'd you do?
The first thing I did, I think the parking attendant approached me and they were like, "Hey, you left the property." And I was like, "I don't think I left the property." And then uh, I believe I called the number that was on the tag there, and I was like, "Hey, I think something's wrong. I didn't leave the property," because at that point I didn't know that I had left the property. Um, and then I think I just gave her money and I left. because they were like, well, we're gonna tow it if you don't give us money.
All right. How much did you pay?
$100.
They come take the boot off?
They did.
Did you look around and see if there were any signs?
I did. There
Did
were
you find
signs.
any?
Yes.
You found one or you didn't?
I did find signs. They weren't apparent when I pulled in.
Where were the signs?
So the sign that I pulled past would have been at the entrance, but it's turned at so that you can't really see it when you're headed in. I have a photo if you want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can share it.
Now you gave us some exhibits at the time. Were these any of the photos? I have pictures of signs. I have 4 pages.
Yeah, I think I shared the wrong ones. I also shared the wrong codes that were broken. It's only 2308. Turns out I'm not a lawyer.
I'll show you what I've got. You tell me if these are helpful.
Okay.
All right, here's what you said. I got 2 documents from that are said plaintiff's exhibits. So let's take a look. But I see one of them is a sign.
Yeah.
There's 4 photos. So here's what I've seen. Okay, I have page 1 is your BitLock's removal receipt. Page 2
Yeah.
is warning. Was this what was on the?
That was what was on my window.
Yeah, okay. And then here is, what is this a picture of, sir?
So that's actually just a property boundary sign that they've because the piece of property is very confusing. So I think
Yeah, no, I get it. You're not the first tow case I've had from this area.
sure.
Um,
Well, and
if you parked in the lot behind it, you will be towed.
right.
So when you're going into Black Sheep, they give you a warning because they know their patrons get towed.
Uh, that's my understanding. It has
All right.
the number for BitLocks on the bottom there. So I don't know if that's owned by
This doesn't do anything. It just said, clearly Black Sheep Lodge is aware that people get towed there a lot. So they were trying to help out customers turn around and go back. I get a lot of tows from South Manchac. Everyone wants to go to the Armadillo Den, but there's no parking.
Oh
So
yeah.
Planet Hollywood, and the tow company is literally a quarter of a mile down Manchac.
Hmm.
So they can get 4 tows in an hour. And they
Yeah.
do. And then the people are all come in, they're like, I didn't know any better. And I'm like, really? Because I see the signs everywhere. And like when you get there, they'll say, make sure you didn't park elsewhere.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I can understand Black Sheep trying to help you out. But this is the actual sign. Was this the sign at the entrance you went in, or is this a sign from a different spot?
That is the sign from the entrance I went in, but I wanted to show you because so if you can see that sign is like facing this way. So if you come in, I guess would it be south?
I love that you think I'm going to be able to follow north and south. No, but I get what you're saying. You were coming in this way and the sign's to your left and you're looking this way, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
So
you turn to the right because to the left is just a parking spot in the building.
well, I actually would have turned in, I think I turned in left. And so I would have pulled around the sign and I just never saw it.
Mr. Chomes, he did request to share his screen. I can allow him so he can show the pictures he has.
Yeah,
I'm-
do that.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Shows it a bit better.
Okay, you got my toe statue. I mean, there's a sign, right? The fact that you didn't see it doesn't mean they didn't post it. Because the question will be, should an ordinary person have observed it? It's not hidden.
Right.
It's not too short. It's got the right signage on it. It's got the number. It's got the address.
So here's kind of what I saw. Can you see this?
Not yet. Okay. I see lazy bones.
Yes. So when I pulled in, um, that's all I was able to observe until I pulled in and then walked. And then there's
In
two
this picture,
sidewalks.
Mr. Walker, right here on Oxford,
Yes.
where's Black Sheep Lodge in connection to this picture?
Black Sheep Lodge is just right around the corner. Like if you just take the sidewalk down.
All right. But it is clearly not connected to this parking lot in any way, shape, or form.
But just as much as these other shops are. Yes.
Right. Okay. But when you came in, I mean, I can see the back of the sign right there, right?
Yep.
All right, let's see.
You can definitely see the back of the sign.
So alleged non-boot. All right. Booting company gives you notice to the owner operator. I mean, I see a sign. Failed to provide the notice, that would be it. Let's take a look at what's required on the actual signage. Because I mean, it's definitely there, right? Is there anything that you automatically think is wrong with the sign other than it
Well,
was
so according to
facing
the
one way?
laws, it says signs must be facing and conspicuously visible to a driver of a vehicle that enters the facility.
I would argue that is conspicuously visible. It is literally right here in your picture. And it's not blocked, it's not covered, it's on a pole, it's right at the entrance.
But is it facing the driver?
Yeah, when you turned in, it's to your left. I'm making it's not facing the opposite way, right? Like let's say that I was looking at the sign now and not the silver, then it would be facing the wrong way.
I don't understand.
When you're pulling in where that yellow arrow is, and
Hmm.
you look to the left as you're looking both ways as you enter the parking lot, you would see the sign to your left. If instead in the picture you're showing me right now, see the back of the sign is silver, which tells me that it's facing the entryway. If I was reading the sign from that photo, then it would absolutely be facing the wrong way and you would be completely correct.
But
Because
would
there would have been no way for you to see it as you drove in. But you absolutely could have read it as you drove in if you just looked to the left.
yes, if I looked to the left, I would have seen it.
Yeah, but you didn't.
I did not look to the left. It
All
wasn't
right.
conspicuously visible.
It is conspicuously visible. It doesn't have to be open and notorious and attention getting. I had a case about this just a few weeks ago that it wasn't illuminated at night, but it does not require it to be. It needs only be visible. It's not blocked. I had another one that was definitely blocked by a tree. No one's expected to look through all those bushes and see it. All right. I don't find that your tow was without consent or without notice, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't towed. I was booted.
Booted. Yeah. We just call them all a tow hearing.
Oh,
All right. Be careful out there, sir. Did you at least enjoy the evening or the afternoon with the game?
oh, it was a great game. How
Did
do
she
I?
win?
Can I contest this case?
I don't think tows are appealable. Let me confirm that for you. I think this is one of
Okay.
those final things. But I'll check. Usually, sometimes you can. A lot of things you're allowed to appeal on.
Totally.
No,
I
you
just
can appeal. You're totally good. Most things are.
okay.
106. Let me get you all the information. Absolutely, sir. You can totally take it to someone else.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Got it. These are one of those, I just spent all morning with those high schoolers, and one side found for the plaintiff, the next group found for the defendant with the exact same set of facts and same photos and same advertisement and everything. It's just
Right.
one of those kind of shade things. So yeah, so if you want to appeal, go for it. So you absolutely can appeal. Oh, sorry, y'all. Talking to all those kids. Okay, there's no appeal bond. You're all set. Appeals are required to be governed by the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure, except that we cannot require you to pay appeal bonds. So you can absolutely appeal all you like, and it won't cost you a dime.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
if I do appeal, would I go to a different precinct? How does that work?
Typically when you appeal from us, you end up going to a brand new court. You go to a county court. So I don't know that we've had one come from it, but you probably are going to be assigned over to county court at law, which would be either Judge Wong or Judge Shepard.
Okay. Great.
All right. Well, good luck, Mr. Walker. Thank you. Be safe out there. Okay.
All right. You too.
I mean, there's some very interesting spots to park in Austin.
Oh, I know. My main issue with this was it looks like they're like intentionally making this parking lot confusing because it was me and a bunch of other people that got because I mean it's $100. I paid what 56 to get it
Mr.
and
Walker,
I'm worried that they're practicing some predatory
they can
things.
do that. The fact that they triple Uber rates and downtown parking used to be free in the evenings and now it's not, no matter the day or the time, it's, you're right. I'll even use the word used. It's predatory. That's not illegal.
Mm. Oh man.
Something
Okay.
I tell people, which can shock and awe, but it's still very true. What is
Okay.
reasonable, what is good business, what is practical, what is decent, it's not the same thing as what is legal. The lawful
Right.
line is like a minimum, and sometimes the far part of that is that God, that's awful. That's all it takes to be legal. Yeah, it's just barely passing.
Right.
But we often assume that we're going to receive A+ service because the businesses tell you that, right? Like, come and we'll treat you like gold. But the legality is they just have to give you lukewarm sea level food.
Well, no, I'm not even like treating you well. It's just it seems that like just all this stuff. It seems like they're intentionally creating a
To make
confusing
it hard for you to
so they
succeed.
can make money. Yeah.
Parking is a scarcity. Um, I'm with it. It's frustrating. As an attorney before, years and years ago, I got a lot of parking tickets trying to find parking at the county courthouse because there's no public parking lot.
Oh my goodness.
That's why we built a new one finally. There's none.
And there's no
There's
laws
no
in
parking at the
yeah.
county courthouse until recently. Criminal building, there's still nothing. If you are going down there, you will search and circle for 30 minutes to find a spot. And unless you have the app on your phone, you're going to get a parking ticket when you come out.
Wow.
I know.
And there's no laws in Austin that I could find about like when it is a confusing situation, there has to be some kind of boundary marker or boundary sign being
Nope.
like, okay, I didn't think
Texas, it's going to be a state law anyway. Most of these are going to come down to natural barriers. And you're not even required to put up fence. The old-fashioned way of marking don't trespass is to put up a purple stripe on trees.
Mhm.
And occasionally I encounter that. Young people that go tubing down the Guadalupe, they'll get off onto people's property, not paying attention to the orange, to the red, to the purple stripes, and they'll get arrested for trespassing.
Oh,
When what they're trying to do is like take a break and get out of the melee. You can't do that. But you might look around. If you're really interested, do look into it. I know there are some law firms that specialize in tow cases from the consumer side, from what you're saying. And they
well,
always say,
it,
even if you're not successful today, right, or an appeal, your complaint is still something that you're correct. I mean, your opinion about what's taking place is something you can certainly highlight and draw attention to. And
yeah,
state legislatures and such should go down there and tell them to change the law.
I mean, is there a way, like, I know this was streamed on YouTube. Is there a way for me to grab this somewhere so that I
No, we're
can,
not a court of record. In fact, it would be illegal to record us.
oh, okay.
And that's the reason you can appeal completely again. Because it's meant to be we didn't require you make any real formal pleadings. We gave you a fill in the blank form, you right. And so that was the goal, was to help you get your day in court as quickly as we can without putting a lot of barriers like be a
Mm,
lawyer. You don't need to do that. So to appeal, you can appeal de novo. And it goes to a new court. And we're not a court of record, though. In fact, I don't have a court reporter, so that's why it's just me and you and the court clerk.
totally.
But these are any others? Because Mr. Walker, you've got really good questions. I like it.
Well, it seems like it should be illegal, but I guess it's not.
I feel that way sometimes on many of these. I mean, I know people who say they don't think you should be able to tow a car ever. And then I have the opposite of that. I've had a situation in a neighborhood where the family was very upset. A neighbor up the street, their visitors would always park in front of the person's house. But that's a public street. You don't own the right to park in front of your house. I get what you're saying. It's frustrating that none of your children can ever park their car there because your neighbor has taken up every available spot on the parking lot on the street. But
Mhm.
that's just not neighborly. It's not illegal.
Right.
I know. I know.
All right.
Same. I
Well,
mean, but Mr. Walker, what I say here is that I don't find that the boot was improper because the signage is clear enough for me to say that it's visible.
hmm.
For the other things you have, do some checking on that, right? And
Yeah.
you can appeal this.
Right. Yeah, and I think I'll try to because it looks like some of these signs, like even this one here, it's very it's pretty dang damaged, and it's just the way they have it turned. It just all seems very odd. Um, I don't know. When I was talking to the parking attendant, in fact, she was confused. She was like, "You walk down to 2100," and I was like, "I walked to Black Sheep, which is 2108, as it turns out." So it was so confusing. Even their own parking attendant had been confused by it. But
I'll be too. The tow company is an independent third party authorized by contract by the owner of the property. So it is sometimes what I find is that the landlord, the owner of the property, and the tow company, they created that contract, and the current tenants and the property management company has nothing to do with it. So it's not surprising that there be a total disconnect. Like they don't know because they don't own the property and they didn't sign the contract with the tow company.
right, but the booting company would know, right?
It's the same thing. They can tow
Oh,
or boot. Sometimes this is their choice. It may be that they boot here because it's easier to boot you than try to get the tow truck in that spot, right? If
yeah.
they may find that the tow yard is too far away, they'd rather use their tow truck down at this end and they just boot everybody over here.
Mm,
Um, I don't know that. I'm just saying that, most of the companies that I encounter in this do both, and they have some level of that. And then just
okay.
kind of depends on what they're looking for.
Well, all for my appeal stuff, is that information going to get sent to my email or?
We'll email it to you along with the order, and then you
Okay.
can contact us and the county about that as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, good luck, Mr. Walker. Thank you. I'm glad that we could at least answer questions and get you some information on your way. Again, you have 21 days for that appeal. You just notify us. And if you can't afford your appeal bond, there's no appeal bond here, so that's irrelevant. But just in case, you could always do what's called an affidavit of inability. All
Okay.
right.
All right.
Have a good afternoon, or have a better afternoon, Mr. Walker. You're all excused. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.